So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all you beautiful viewers out there. And I hope you're enjoying life. I hope you're creating now from that space of new and wanting to bring all the fabulous stuff into your life and open yourself into your new pathways if that's what's showing up. So today, another intimate conversation, and we have the gorgeous Gail Francis with us today. So how are you, Gail? And welcome.
Thank you. I'm very well, thank you. It's a privilege to be here.
Oh, lovely. It's been a long time to have this conversation with you, Gail. We've been Facebook buddies for a very long time, and it's just lovely to catch up in this way on a more personal level. So thank you again for coming in. And what I'll do right now is just read your bio and introduce you to our viewers. So, kia ora, I am remains the most powerful statement one can make about themselves. For me, I am richly blessed in all areas of my life as I choose to live from my heart. Many years ago, I asked Spirit, what is it I do? The answer was, I am here to bring through the Christ energies to help heal, balance, and restore on all levels. This is manifested in many ways, far beyond my dreams, hence my passion for life and all it holds. I cannot imagine a day without my divine connection with all that is, as I am nourished on all levels. My inner journey reflects my outer reality as I seem to live with my feet grounded in two worlds. My team of unseen, mostly, lovingly guide my many passions, be they my paintings, writings, or teachings. I'm a published author, healing facilitator, a teacher of intuitive painting, and mentor for those who seek support. My favorite saying is still, if it's not fun, I'm not playing. I love that. I love it. I so get that. If it's not fun, who wants to play there, eh? Beautiful, Gail. And one of the things I start with in these conversations is around whether you were an awake child when you came in. Did you know who you were on some level? Were you completely sort of, as we call it, asleep, which I think that's getting to be a little derogatory for me in saying that to people or implying. Because we're all awake in some way on some level, aren't we? Even if it may be the minutest part of us, but there's a part that knows. And so how was it for you, Gail? Did you have parents that supported you if you're awake, that sort of thing? Or aware?
We had, my siblings and I, we had beautiful, loving parents. I was born before the end of the Second World War. And my dad was invalided home from the war. So my parents were basically, if you had to label them, you would say poor, but they never showed it. We were very well fed. We were loved beyond measure. And my mum could make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. My dad was a mortician. He was very, very well known for his skills. And it's a funny story. Quite often he'd come home in this old rattly big Bedford van from the funeral director's parlour, and he'd say, hey, Jewel, does Gail want to come for a ride with me? And I'd go, yes. So he'd pop me in the front of this old van with the sliding door. Of course, there's no seat belts or anything like that. And he'd say to Mum, oh, we've got a stiff on the back, And we'd rattle our way out to the hospital to drop this body off. So I've grown up with on the lighter side of death,
right?
Yes. Acknowledging the grief, but having a very deep acceptance and understanding of death. And I just have no fear of it whatsoever. So that was a massive blessing from my mum and my dad.
Oh.
As for being awake, I would say on and off as a child. I had a wonderful connection with being the eldest, wonderful connection with the kingdoms and the elements. And I can remember one day I got a bee sting and I went crying. I was only little. I went crying up to Mum and Dad said, well, you know that they died, dear. And I got over the grief pretty quick and went down and found the bee and gave it a burial in a little mesh bowl.
Aww.
Yeah, so that's the love and the caring and the nourishing that you get from loving parents.
Yes.
We lived on a main road. It was a rough, stony road, which is now a main street through the suburbs of Auckland. And we had the odd pet cat, and we had this beautiful fluffy cat called Smokey. He was grey. And one night I had this dream that I could see him going up the driveway and crossing the road, and he went into the local quarry and he never came back. And I knew he had died. And I told Mum and Dad about this the next day. And, in those days, they're recovering from wartime. So
Yes.
they're not really in that space of fully understanding where someone who has these experiences is coming from. But they were very kind. And another time I woke up and I shared this amazing dream, and it was coloured, and I was saying, but mum, the skies were so blue and the flowers, and I was rattling on, and of course Dad's getting ready for work, and they just put their hand on my shoulder and said, well, that's nice, dear.
Oh.
So you sort of shut up, really.
Yes.
And I guess I really stayed shut up for a lot of years, but I did have a pretty good instinct. So I had a good child. I married young, had my family very young, and they basically kept me very, very busy. I met the father of my children at work. He was my first love. And we had 4 beautiful children together. And we used to go to his family church that I became involved in.
Yeah.
And I was pretty hungry. I learned a lot. I remember one day, my husband and I, we'd moved into this little dark flat. We had, I think 3 children at that stage. We had nothing. We had a few veggies in the garden. I went out to pick these beans one day, and I thought, oh God, please let there be enough beans for us.
Yeah.
And this voice came through and said very loud in my ear, you will have plenty to eat, my dear. And we did, and I know it was Yeshua.
Yes.
So there are these beautiful experiences that shape your life. They really do. You never forget them. They're real.
Yes.
And this is what a lot of people, we're inviting them to, really tap into their heart, into their soul, and trust.
Yes. Yes.
Trust.
Absolutely.
So yes, I used to take my children to church regularly every Sunday, and my eldest was actually a scallywag if she didn't get her Sunday school. There was one day I was sitting in the front pew and I was asking questions, and they simply couldn't answer them.
Yes.
And, a lot of religions, they're sort of like this.
Whereas
we're just like this.
Beyond, yeah.
Yeah, so I left. And it's been my own journey ever since.
Yeah. I understand that, Gail. I also was hungry, as you say, for information, to know more, just to know more about me, really, which I didn't realise that at the point, in time. But also went and looked at churches and And I just saw this saying one thing, doing two others, you know, and it just didn't match up for me. There wasn't an alignment with what I was seeing and hearing to, yeah, it just wasn't lining up. So I was the same. I thought, this isn't where I need to go to find anything really other than that, just realizing that was, and I saw how it was made up from man's perception really, and view of what they thought God or the Bible was trying to say. Yeah, it was very interesting, but it was good. It was good to go and have a look and get that, because whatever it was and however it worked, I had an innate fear of this darkness, you know, whatever that was. And I knew Satan for whatever reason. I also knew Christ. And I couldn't work out how I knew that, because my parents were certainly not religious in any way. I had never been, you know, poked or prodded or guided to go in any way or direction. It was just left purely up to me. So yeah, it was interesting.
It's a gift, you
It
know,
is.
and as a small child, I would have probably been maybe 8 or 9. And as I said, I was hungry. I mean, that's young to be hungry.
Yes, yes.
And I wanted to go to church. I thought that was where you learnt everything.
Same.
And my mother was from Jewish background, and my father was Church of England, and they just said, never the twain shall meet, find your own way. And I
Yeah.
was actually pretty angry at them for that. But
Yeah.
what a gift. What a gift.
Totally.
So I remember finding a way to a congregational church, a local one. And I went with a wee girlfriend from across the road and sat there. And of course, the kids just mucked around. And I think the best thing that I got from that was a bookmark that had the 12 blessings on it. And
Oh,
I've probably still got it.
oh wow.
You know, so these are the little things that I mean, I haven't thought of that for years, but you realize they're the things that shape your life.
Absolutely, they do.
So with the father of my children, we were in business for many, many years, and I really didn't have that much time
Yeah.
and we called it religion then, for things spiritual. I'd have to dig deep to find where I held that balance.
Yes.
But I was painting. I became a professional painter and a teacher of basically traditional. I was called, I would have been labelled a fine artist. And when I looked through my folder, which I'm cleaning out my computer at the moment, and I looked at some of my work, I thought, far out, Long story short, years later, I'd been teaching for many years and I just had nothing left to teach. And so I retired. And that's when all my spiritual painting came in. I was on an absolute high. I was just in heaven.
Yeah.
I got given the colours and the titles, and I duly did the paintings. Then each painting was energized through my voice and light through my hands. And then I was given the description for the reverse. And I could watch when the painting was finished, I could see the paint moving. And I can see those paintings today and see things that appeared in them.
Yeah.
And this must be 20 years ago. And
Yes.
and I can read the descriptions on the back, and they're still relevant today. So that was that was my life turning in an absolute opposite direction, being self-employed, and then one of my beautiful close soul sisters is Judy Satori.
Yes.
So I used to, there's not many of us don't know her. So she's been a very valued teacher in my life. I used to go to a lot of her events and support her as much as I could. And she was just an absolute godsend. And there was one day she was meant to be presenting over at Blockhouse Bay Boat Club. And she'd been in touch with me and said, well, you know, if I can't get up, I'll send you the recording and you can play it to the people. Well, the recording never came, actually, and I know Judy was setting me up.
Isn't it beautiful though? You know,
yeah, I know. Well, I had been holding meditation evenings at home, and we'd have a room full of people, and that's another wee story. But yeah, I was pretty terrified, actually, and I thought, well, gosh, what do I do here? And I thought, oh, I know I was being guided. Well, I live in the north, so I'll just connect, ask a couple of people from the other directions to come and make a short presentation, because we had a time limit. So that worked really, really well. And there was one lady who was presenting, and I was listening to her, and I was like, she's going on about talking from her head. And I said, oh, okay, Spirit, you know, please ask her to quieten down. And she didn't.
Oh.
So, you know, this was bringing me into my power. So I'm very, very grateful for all these things.
Yeah.
And I just gently quietened her down so we could continue. So, you know, thank you, Judy. That was a wonderful evening. And during our meditation evenings, I used to run from our home. I didn't know what to do, so I used to download one, print one off the internet. And people knew what I was doing. That was fine.
Yeah.
And then one day I thought, well, I've just got to trust. I've just got to. And the language of light has been coming through me for many, many years. So I just sat there and called my team in, and of course my Arcturian team comes through. Well, they're the beautiful Christed light beings who activate your joy chakra. And so they spoke to me in light language, and of course we just started laughing. It sounded hilarious, like chooks running around clucking away. It was just so yes, they're with me now. So, you know, that was it, and it's gone onwards from there, and running events and
beautiful
just
stuff.
doing what we do.
Yes. And I get the Arcturian, and I believe for me that was where my main embodiment comes from, is the Arcturian. Yeah. And we were in doing, like, finding out really was you know, just reading through all the different races and all of that, and then it was just the Arcturian. Oh my goodness, it just absolutely, I knew every cell in my body was indicating that was where I'm mainly from, basically. I think we've got bits of all sorts, really, you know, but you know, when you go past all that, you are just one in the oneness. But it's interesting, and the gifts that came through from that, from my Arcturian self, has been valuable, very valuable in the healing realm.
Yes. Absolutely. You know, if ever I don't feel full, if I'm feeling a little bit down, I call my team in, and look, I'm just so grateful. And I can lay in bed and I say, okay, you know, just give me the once over, please, you know, balance, restore. And I can feel them scanning my body. And they've blessed us over the years with so many beautiful procedures. Even just, I think it was, it would be last year, this one just started. They brought through a most beautiful process, which I will share somehow or give a link or so people can use it. It's absolutely beautiful, because the light today is about the platinum silver light now, you know, we're way there. And this is just a phenomenal, simple, quick visualization you can do during your, you know, whenever you want to. So yeah, I'm very happy to share that.
Yeah, that would be lovely. Yes. And nature, Gail, when you were a kid, you just knew, didn't you? I did myself. I
Mm.
used to go and sit in the bush with the fantails, and they'd talk to me for hours down there, you know. When I was a kid, it was my sanctuary, really, was where I went to sort of align myself, I suppose, and let go of anything that was, around that I wasn't liking. And yeah, it was great. I loved it. I loved it. Always had that connection. And I think it's what keeps us sane. I
Right.
mean, it is who we are, isn't it?
I'm a
We are
bird
nature.
person, being
Yeah.
brought up with birds, and we had an aviary, and if there were any birds that were injured around the place, and as you say, a fantail, so we picked one up one day and put it into the aviary, and it was nothing unusual for me to be down in the aviary with Dad. We had budgies, and we'd make sure the babies were in at night time. But we brought this little fantail back to full health, and of course I was in love with it, and I'm only a kid, and I didn't want to let it go, and Dad said, you've got to let it go. So yes, we let it go, and it sat on the clothesline and just looked at us.
Oh,
But this is what they do.
it
And
is.
I've had my own incredible experiences. I mean, when I was at Warkworth, when we lived there just over 2 years ago, they called me the bird lady. And
Right.
people would be bringing their birds, and I thought, oh, goody,
Oh, I
another
love them.
another little gem to hold
Yes.
and love back to being. So I've got some
Mm,
beautiful, beautiful stories. So
yeah.
I'm actually about probably sixth, seventh through my next book. It's got 7 chapters apparently, which is interesting for this day and
Yeah.
age, being all the sevens.
Yes.
And so I've included some beautiful experience I've had with the kingdoms and the elements. They just blow me away.
Yeah. I,
Absolutely amazing.
it was said to me the other day, and I tend to agree with this, is that our New Zealand nature um, has not moved out of fifth dimension. It always has been in that space. And, when I thought about that and felt into it, it felt really right. I could feel that, the wisdom that's come through from me speaking with Kauri, the Kauri trees and the ancients that are involved with the Kauri, that the wisdom that's come through. And it's so there. I just thought this is so true. Would you feel that would
Oh,
be?
oh, absolutely.
Mm,
And it's been confirmed even more so since I've been living down here, because I'm only half an hour from Castle Hill. So I'm blessed to be able to take all our visitors, whoever wants to come,
yes.
whoever comes down to the South Island, take them up there. And
Can you,
the go on.
sorry, I was just going to say, can you, and when you're ready to, just explain a wee bit about Castle Hill, because I've heard a lot about it, but I'm not in the knowing of what it is and there's a portal, Stargate, whatever. What sort
Yes,
of,
yes,
yeah,
yes, 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 yes.
yeah,
So until I came down to the South Island 2 years ago, and I've been given that this is where I'll be living, whether that's permanent, we just
yeah,
live in now. But for the just over a year, I've been living just half an hour from Castle Hill. And I was taken up there by a very dear friend, and we walked to the top, to the Mother Stone. It took a whole hour, but on the way up to the top, there's 3 massive stones and rocks,
yeah,
they'd be twice as tall as me, I suppose. And on the second one, there was, oh gosh, what do you call them? The beautiful, a falcon
yeah.
sitting there, and I thought, oh, look at the falcon, and I just go, wow, a bird.
Yes.
So the pair of us stood there and we talked to the falcon, and we knew that this bird was a guardian of this place. And so, it looked at us, and we accepted the beautiful energies that it was gifting us. And then it just flew away in a figure eight. It flew around our head 3 times, flew in a figure eight, and then came back and then took off. And, you know, what a wonderful confirmation.
Mm.
And we continued to the top, and it was the first time I'd ever connected with the mother rock. Oh, I just cried. Oof. You know, if someone had said to me years ago, well, rocks don't talk, I would have agreed with them. But, you know, everything, everything is energy. And the messages you get from the mother, the messages you get from the connections, and I've been blessed to have so many incredible experiences up there that have expanded my heart and enlightened my soul in ways. Thank you is just not enough.
Yes.
We just have to live. We have to walk our talk.
Yeah.
And not be afraid of sharing these, if you want to label it woo-woo, but it's the oneness, it's the connection.
Yes.
It's the connection with absolutely everything.
Yeah.
So we, you know, just over a week ago, I was blessed to take 3 beautiful light being friends up there, and I was prepared energetically the night before. My being was so full, I had no sleep. I had, I think, 1 hour.
Yeah.
And I thought, gosh, how am I going to manage today? Well, we did. We were up there 5 hours. We did exactly, everyone took part. There's no leaders.
No.
There was beautiful initiations and honourings, and because anyone who has followed me on Facebook will see the photos I place there. And that is for the specific reason to spread the light and the love. And I trust invite people to consider that everything is alive.
Yes.
You know, when the rocks talk to you, I mean, a dear friend took me up to Flock Hill about a year ago, and as we crept through these prohibited, well, I shouldn't be saying that, should I? Land, you know, make ourselves a little bit invisible for a wee while.
Yeah.
We were on a mission, and as we walked up to the top of this hill, I could see where there had been a temple. And I stood between, before I walked in and my friend walked in, we stood between these 2 huge pillars, huge rocks. And, you know, then your inner voice comes, your guidance, whether it's the rocks or your team, you know, welcome. You've finally come back, you're here, you know, and we just do what we're there to do. And my body's gone very, very cold while I'm sitting here now.
Yeah.
And when I came back home, I sat out on the back porch and I was just reliving that for a moment. And as you probably know, I write poetry, or poetry comes through me. And this poem came through about the temple that was there. And as I was writing this, I could see this massive etheric crystal coming up in the middle of the temple. Still, you know, it's still all there.
Yes.
This place here is so sacred, Castle Hill, all around there. And the Dalai Lama calls it the heart center of the universe.
Beautiful.
Not just of our planet, but of the universe.
Wow.
You know, it's phenomenal.
Gosh. Yes, that's wonderful. I'm heading down hopefully this year to do a tour, and I would definitely go to Castle Hill and check it out for sure. It'll be amazing. Energetically there, I can feel it. It's like there is such a buzz, and it's so expansive. Like you can just feel this amazing expansive. I think for you to go in and intentionally create anything would just manifest on the spot. You know.
It is. And the interesting thing is you can go there either by yourself or with with a few people, whatever. And you go with purpose. Well, for me,
Yes.
I go with purpose, just to be open to both give and receive, because this is what life is about. It's, as my friend says, breathe in, giving to life, and breathe out, giving to life. And that's from a beautiful ascended master. And so we go with that in mind. And apart from our guidance for any protocol that we're given to follow, everything just unfolds. And wherever we go, the car park can be chocker full of cars, but wherever you go, there's no people. We're left alone.
Yes.
You're left alone. And when I walk up the path, I simply ask my team, okay, which way do I go today, left or right?
Yeah.
And they're very patient while my little camera on my phone takes the photos. And what blows me away is I've got into the habit of taking before and after photos, before I start whatever it is I'm doing, and after. And after, the photo after always has the beautiful blue energy. This is the color. It's like a violet blue that you'll see in my photos when we connect with the elements, with the kingdoms, with all that is, with our team. We're never alone, and boom, the next thing, everything's alive. I'm
I
happy.
know. Isn't it just, it's such a, the joy. I know the joy is just amazing in it, isn't it? When you connect in that way.
It's magic.
It is magic. And
Yes.
I don't know, I just sort of feel for people who don't know the magic, who haven't actually really experienced it and don't know it, and how there must be such empty people, empty souls.
Well, they're full of other stuff, and we've learned to have great compassion for that.
Yes.
And that's been a massive journey for me since I've been down here, because I've been basically solo, which is quite new and quite different for me. I'm used to having family and a lot of people around me. So I've simply had to learn to trust.
Yes.
Trust on a very, very deep level. And I know I just seem to be put wherever I'm meant to be. So for a while I was house sitting, and then I was boarding with people, and it was most interesting, the places where I ended up, the people I was living with.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. I'm very aware of how we've changed.
Yes. Gosh,
people
yes.
who I was very, very close to for many, many years, they seem to move away, and this is a common thing with the work. I've had people very, very, very close to me say, well, we'd rather have the old you.
Right.
I can barely remember what that old me was like. I really don't know.
Yeah.
I love who I love who I am.
Yes.
And it's taken a long time to practice that self-love and appreciate.
Yes.
And the more we do that, the more we live every moment in gratitude and expand our hearts. And I mean, that last experience I had sharing at Castle Hill blew me away. I thought, my goodness. And I was able to detach from myself. That's a real gift, to say, well,
Yes.
look what happened today. This is what you're being blessed with. This is how spirit, how our team, how God, call it whatever you like, our creator, trusts us enough to bring through these energies to support people. We're not telling them what to do. We're gifting them as they come to us, and we're inviting them to receive.
Yeah.
So for those who, who are still walking that path, we're all on the same path, who are still walking that path to realization, their time will come.
Yes.
No,
Absolutely.
their time will come.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have my saying, if it's not fun, I'm not playing. Well,
Yes.
when we go to the supermarket and they're sort of trained to say, well, have a nice day, have a nice day. Well, I look at them in the eye and I say, you have a nice life. And they go, you see them, they go, oh, wow.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's what I say.
Yeah.
Have a good life. Let's face it. They've been through,
Absolutely.
and not everyone has the tools to know how to lift themselves from that mire yet.
No.
You just have a lovely life.
That's beautiful. And I think for me anyway, the feeling for this year is definitely about more joy and fun. And I'm certainly there. If it's not fun, I'm not playing. We've had such a tumultuous time over these last 10 years, really, but full on in the last 3. And I think everyone realized, really, a lot of people anyway, in that time over the last 3 years, that we really treasure our freedom. Like, we really do. And this, just being away for a week or so on a little short holiday, and watching all the holiday makers having this joyful time playing, and sun in the water, and just having fun, out living life, doing what they really are pleasurely doing, wanting to do. That just brought so much joy to my life, and seeing these people out there having fun again. It was like, man, this is what life's about. And for me, I just feel this is the year for us to really kick that into play again and bring.
Well, it's a healing year.
So
and now you're seeing people getting out and sharing and coming together in the most beautiful ways, and celebrating the changes that we're witnessing at the moment. And also inviting people to hold that compassion, because there's always those who have had to show us what we don't want, and what goes around comes around for each and every one of us on that 3D level. So to hold that compassion for those people for showing us what we don't want. So it's been a massive, massive journey, and I'm just forever grateful. I was blessed those 3 years ago that had a very vivid dream in which someone appeared in my dream state, which disturbed me, because you wonder how that can happen. And but I realized I was being shown for a purpose. And that, seeing that, it helped me be strong. It was like I gritted my teeth and I just felt strong. I thought, right, yes, I have to be strong. I have to be strong. I have to be true to myself, stand in my power. And if I say things and appear to people that pushes their buttons, so be it. I think a lot of people now are realizing that when we have our buttons pushed, it's a real gift. It's a gift to look within, that journey within. Oh my goodness.
Oh, no.
Down the rabbit hole.
I know. I love it. I do love it. And I always, I was saying about my cellular training, and everyone, it'd be okay, pair up and go and do another process type of thing when we're doing the training, and everyone would go, oh, Not another one. And I'd be
Yes.
because every single time I found out more about me, I released the trauma and I was in more freedom. It was like, why do you
Yes.
not want to do this? You know, but going back into the old emotional isn't fun. I get that. But, the release that comes from and the sense of freedom and expansion is just incredible. And it
Yes.
just always, I just wanted more of that. Yeah, I want to get right to the end where I can finish up with all of this if I can, ever, you know. And I don't know that we ever do. I think in a human form, we just continually keep, moving things and shifting them. But what I've found is that it used to be a 2-hour, 3-hour deep dive, and this process now it's like, as soon as it's there, it's just, you can release it. It's
Yes.
just so quick.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. And I mean, when we're committed to the sort of, I'll say focus, I'll say passion actually, because I'm passionate
It's a
about
passion. Mm.
about um, what I do and what I bring through. It brings me such joy and it fills me up.
Mm.
And I can remember the 5 years my husband and I spent living down in Coromandel in this beautiful land, and I knew it was our place when we went for auction, and that was a journey in itself, a journey of trust, just that knowing.
Mhm.
And moving into this place that had portals, and I was able to hold events, and because I was thinking, gosh, we're a bit isolated here, and it was Judy actually who said to me, she says, no, because there's people going to be coming, and
Yeah.
come they did.
Yes.
And I can remember holding an all day, or it was about a good 12-hour event, 2012,
Mhm.
2112. Oh gosh almighty, what a day. What a day. And it was a work day. People came during the day from 11 if they weren't working, and those that were working came when they could to the night.
Mm.
The beautiful meditations and beautiful thoughts, the guidance and the journey he took us on. And,
Oh.
that was like the changing of the guard that day,
Yeah.
that 2012, and things have never been the same since. They've been so
No.
expansive.
Yeah.
So, mm,
It changed deeply, really. Now energy for me is very, very different, like in going and clearing people or houses or whatever it might be. But I can't feel it the same. It's just a totally different thing. It's like there is no separation in it anymore. Before it was definite, I defining that, yes, that's that, I can feel that, it's not a part of you, and we'll deal with that. But now it's like everything is just so combined and so one that there's no separating it up anymore. It's quite interesting. And it's learning how to drive that, because it's learning how to drive it all differently now. It's like not drive it, but you know what I mean, know what you can do with it and how to use it again now is a joy in finding out that too, seeing
exciting.
how quickly it works. And
Yes.
yeah, it is so exciting. It's just been something that right from a young kid, this was just my passion. I knew it was just it just drove me on every day. It was like, what else can I find out,
Yes.
consciously in this human body? Yeah, so exciting. And for now, Gail, how do you see things unfolding? Do you see things unfolding like as a now, the bigger picture now from because we've really switched the game over now. The
Yes.
light has, or we always knew it was winning if we look at it as a dark and light battle, as we've been told and as we know it is.
Yes.
And it is a spiritual battle, and in the whole realm of it, that's what it is. How do you see, if you do, how do you see this sort of unfolding now and where this is leading us? Like there's talk of the big event, the flash that's going to happen, and everything transforms from that moment on, and everyone is transformed in some way from that. Do you feel that happening? How do you feel it?
Well, Mandy, I'm very mindful what I loan my ears and my eyes to.
Mm-hmm.
And there is so much online, depending where you go,
Yeah.
that as long as we are grounded, and that's more important today than ever before. I grounded myself well before I came in to
Coming
be
in,
with you
yep.
today.
Yes, me too. Yeah.
And it's still a matter of choice.
Mm.
So for me, I fully believe and fully feel. I don't know about the rapture and all these labels and solar flashes and all these things, because it's all energy, and depending on the planets, I love my astrology.
Yeah.
And depending on the movement and all that, spirit is bringing through and blessing us with, I still think that everything is dependent on the amount of light that you hold and the amount of balance that we have in our bodies. I feel that we do, our shadow side actually keeps us balanced.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I know when I'm ungrounded and I'm up in those higher dimensions, I simply can't speak straight,
Yes.
because my words don't come, and and I've been very good today.
Yeah.
Really good.
I totally get it. Even reading your bio, like my eyes are not right today. They haven't been for the last 3 or 4 days. And that's that big shift we're in at the moment, planets lining up everywhere and all sorts of things doing their thing. And that there is when I also, it's important at those times to really earth in and ground yourself in and hydrate, all those things, but my eyes today, I was thinking, gosh, I hope I don't muck up too much, because I could hardly see what I was reading.
Yes.
So
I was lucky enough to go with a friend to the Spirit Fest down here in Christchurch last Saturday. Thank goodness she was driving, because I simply couldn't see enough to drive. And I went with a very open mind and open heart, with no real intention, just to be. And it was nice not to be in a place like that where you weren't a presenter, actually, where you didn't have to work. You could just
it's lovely.
so it was really good. But I thought, thank goodness I don't have to drive home, because my vision was terrible. And I thought, I've had a feeling for a while I need to get my eyes tested, but I just can't do it, because I don't know what. I just think this is
not on the
how.
physical, in a sense. No.
That's right. Yeah. This is how our bodies are being realigned. I mean, we're so much more crystalline now.
Yes.
And light. This morning, before I came into you, I will share a process that I do every day that I can, especially when the sun's shining. So I go out and I stand facing the sun, preferably early in the morning when it's not too hot, barefoot on the lovely cold grass. And I say to my body, center. So I'm centering my chakras, and I have my eyes closed. Align, and I'm aligning my chakras with heaven and earth. Activate, so I'm spinning my chakras correctly and harmoniously. Clear, I take a little bit longer. Clear all energies that are not of the light, that are in alignment with divine will. And then I ground, so I send strong cords from the soles of my feet and my base chakra down through my earth star, and I ground them deep into Earth Mother's heart and deep into her sacred waters. Then Earth Mother pulses these living waters up my grounding cords through my earth star, through the soles of my feet. And so my feet fill with the water, and I see these waters rising up, filling my legs right up to my groin, filling my lower torso, filling my whole torso with all her sacred, pure vitamins and minerals into every cell. Continue to rise up, filling my shoulders, falling over, filling my hands. I see those waters rising back up to my shoulders, rising up my neck, filling my head, transmuting any tension, stress, anxiety from my jaw, filling every hair follicle, saturating it, and then it bursts through my crown chakra to reach the great central sun, who then purifies, balances, regenerates, and energizes these waters before sending them back to Mother Earth and blessing all my bodies, my subtle bodies, and blessing Mother Earth with the same.
It's beautiful.
Give thanks, and then I say fully awake, and I open my eyes. It's a magical, magical little process, and a lot of the times my arms will raise, they will levitate, and they will come up above my head like this, and at the end, when the waters are coming back to earth, my hands come down to here, to my third eye, to my throat chakra, my heart, and they flip over and point down to Mother Earth before I say fully awake.
It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to write that out when I edit this.
I might have it written somewhere, so I'll remind me if I send it to you.
Okay. That'd be lovely. Yeah, gorgeous. That's lovely. I could feel that as you were saying it. I was imagining, I could see and sense that's beautiful. Lovely, lovely stuff. And that is such an important thing to bring yourself into the alignment, because often there's so much going on around us in our environments, and all the atmosphere, of course, with everything else that's happening as well, with the towers and all sorts, 5Gs and all sorts of things going on. It's really, really important to keep our body in that space, of aligned and clear and continually clear. I know for myself, I was getting subliminal messaging coming through in these last 3 years as well, to direct me to go and do what I know I didn't want to do. And I thought, gosh, it's getting very strong out there in respect to the interference and things that we've had going on. So there's a lot of stuff. And it is very, very important. So that's a really great little ritual. Beautiful stuff.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So this is something else for those who are very have a beautiful relationship with their Arcturian healing team. And for those who are listening and watching this, and this resonates with you, I really lovingly invite you to call in your own team of 3, and you will receive a team of 3 to connect with you that are uniquely yours, and they will gift you beyond your knowing. You will love them. You will love them so much. Yeah. So down here, and I'm aware of a lot of places throughout New Zealand, we're seeing these chemtrails. And a lot of people just think that they're the vapor trails from aeroplanes. So I was on my morning walk around here one morning a while ago, and I was talking to a beautiful Maori man who lives across the road, and he happened to comment on the vapor trail, and I looked up and I said, well, actually, that's a chemtrail. And he said, well, what's that and how do you know? And I said to him, well, vapor trails disappear, and this particular chemtrail went from one horizon to the other. It was solid white, and you could see it breaking up and spreading into the clouds. And I said, and in a couple of hours, probably about 3 hours time, you'll find we'll have no sunshine here. It'll just be cloudy. And sure enough, the rest of the day was cloudy. So my Arcturian team, when I see them, I just call them in, and we are all alchemists, every single one of us. We hold these beautiful energies and gifts within our being. And when we acknowledge them and accept them and love them with just such gratitude, they expand.
Yes.
And we learn to transmute what doesn't suit.
Yes.
We can transmute to the best of our ability and set the intention to transmute a lot of what's going through our ear. And yeah,
Absolutely. And that's what I remember saying to a lady who was very rant about all the chemtrails and
yes,
all the stuff it was doing and all that thing. And I said, look, alchemists, we can transmute it. We can absolutely neutralize the whole thing. Why get upset and angry about it? Just use your energetic self to neutralize. And it didn't go down very well, actually, but that's my thing. Energy, we're all energy, and that can work. So it does work very, very quickly.
yes,
It neutralizes them all. And I know I remember doing that also with my grandson in particular, but granddaughter too, when she was first born, to neutralize the vaccinations that they were having as children.
Yes.
It's like, oh my gosh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because there's this real dilemma with the parents as to, not doing the right thing if we don't get them done. And it's just so instilled, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, well, I had the opportunity, I met up with a very beautiful young friend a couple of trips ago to Auckland, and we're sitting at the coffee lounge and having a most beautiful, deep conversation. And it got deeper, and I said to her, well, I think we need to go and sit somewhere a bit more private.
Yeah.
So we sat in her car, and she just shared things with me, and I always ask permission to share if they're open to receive. So, and she was very open to receive. There was it's just unfolded as it unfolded. But at the end, the beautiful friend of mine sat there, and she said, well, she says, what have I done? What have I done? What have I done to my family?
Mm.
And I said, let's do some, do some beautiful work around that. And let's, because it's happening with so many people now. They're realizing what their choice was at the time. And I said,
Yes.
that was a conscious choice you made at the time. And I personally have no judgment whatsoever. I just hold love and compassion. And this is where we're coming to now, and as people are realizing, and it's for us to hold that space of love and compassion.
Yeah.
And it's going to be shown up even more, in the next year or so, is my feeling.
Absolutely, for sure.
Mm.
Yes. And I was told that those who went into it thinking
Sorry, I'm jerking you a wee bit. I'm filling up at the moment.
It's so good. Those ones who chose to, because they needed to keep the income coming in, did it from a place of knowing that it was actually for helping their families and that sort of thing, who went into it and with those sorts of intentions, theirs is going to be neutralized, apparently.
I totally believe that. I totally, when things are done with the heartfelt intention, or whether or not people are basically brainwashed, hypnotized, which has happened, I just see them as being innocent.
Yes.
Absolutely innocent. And I totally believe that they will be looked after.
Yes, absolutely.
Otherwise, what are we doing? What are we believing in?
Exactly. Yeah. And I've come to that place where it's really just about now creating our new lives. You know, we've gone through that. We now have had that experience, and my focus now is not there, but this way, wherever that is, and whatever that means. And what I'm finding in doing this for myself and my family is that that world has moved so far away now that you know, even the talk of still restrictions or whatever might be coming up, it just feels like that's not my world. Never was. I even in the whole beginning of all of this, I kept saying this isn't my creation, even though it was part of it. But
Yes.
it was I very much in many cases stood outside looking in. There were times I got involved and I went down some dark rabbit holes, but other than that, it was really holding a space, I felt.
Yes.
Holding space for this to go on and to happen so that we could come out the other end of it. In whatever
Well,
way that
we're
was.
human, you know, we are human. And we're not love and light all the time. We have our
No.
moments, and I certainly have mine. I was blessed a wee while ago. You know, I've got such beautiful friends, and one of my soul sisters, her partner sent me a set of oracle cards. He said they're really good. So this night I decided I was going to draw a card, and it's such a beautiful story. And I drew a card about the divine masculine, and I thought, I was in my head and I thought, I would have liked something a bit more exciting than that. Anyway, I thought, okay, and I read what it said, and I came out into the lounge, and I was lucky to have the house to myself, and I sat there and I thought, okay, I'm going to connect with my divine masculine. Well, I sat there and I bawled my eyes out. I cried and I thought, whoa, thank you so much. I didn't know I needed that.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I always, if ever I draw a card, I always ask my team to draw a card for me that's appropriate for this moment of now.
Yes.
And they always are. And so what happened was that my divine masculine and my divine feminine was balanced. I felt like I was on this beautiful balanced seesaw, and I just, oh,
Yes.
thank you. You know,
I
thank
know.
you.
That's so
Eternal
brilliant.
thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely beautiful. And such a, I mean, I had that same sort of experience as well, where the divine masculine was presented to me in a sense, and then it was like and also coming into that space of deep gratitude and grace, really, and that, you know, we're now, yeah, this is happening. We're actually there. We're doing this. Ah,
We
so
are doing it.
exciting.
You know, I'm really lucky. I say I'm lucky, blessed, because I'm an Aquarian, and I just say I'm just a dreamer. I've always been an Aquarian dreamer, but both my sun and my moon are in Aquarius.
Right.
So this particular month, this particular time is incredibly powerful and energetically expanding for me. As I'm talking to you, my
Yes.
hands are on the table and they're absolutely burning.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's coming through. It is, yes, and so this is about magic, and it's something I've loved since I was a child. And learning about alchemy and knowing that we're all alchemists, and that it's our birthright. It's who we are.
It is.
Um,
I know, Gail. I know that
so
joy. It's such a joy, isn't it?
yes, so I have spirit with me. Is it okay to speak?
Yes, go,
Okay,
absolutely.
because I'm bursting.
I can see that.
So I'll goodness me. So I'll just ask. This is for all who are listening and witnessing at any time that happens to be, because there is no time. This is to support people to excuse me, to clear the doubt and to embrace the fun and the joy, their child within. Because when you watch children play, they're in the moment, they're in the now, and they're creating in their magic. Na 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 ha te ki na na ma ne ne na na ha te ki to ta na na he ta ne he na 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 ha te ra hana maha shakana na te ka ne he na na kona na ne he te na na ha ki ka ma ni he te na na he na na maha na ni na he na na ha na na he na 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 te ka ha ta na na he na na ha shi nya na maha na 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 kona na he te ha na na he ta ki he na he na na sha ki ta na na ha na na ne na na ha na na sa. And breathe and receive. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. They're so beautiful. I've gone so hot.
Well, I'm the opposite. I'm freezing cold.
Oh, that was gorgeous. What a joyful little rhythm to that. That was lovely. Energetic,
Right.
gorgeous.
Well, and when, again, this is something that the Arcturian teams, and when I hold events, I can guarantee the Arcturians will always come through and activate our joy chakra. And most people don't realize that we've got one.
Yes.
And funnily enough, it's down near our base chakra. Now, doesn't that just make sense?
Yes.
Doesn't that just give balance to everything that our base chakra stands for? And our base chakra, if we talk colors, is red, but the joy chakra is the color of the new earth, or what I was given a few years ago. So I feel that's changing, actually.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful, it's like a translucent magenta pink. It's rich, vibrant. It's just alive. Yes.
Yeah.
So you call your team in and ask them to activate your joy chakra.
Absolutely, because again, it's time for this now. It's time for this activation for sure. Yeah, that joy is definitely required and is, I feel, already activating in people, actually, already.
Absolutely.
Oh, so good, isn't it? So good.
It is. It's wonderful. I love it.
Gail. Yes. And I just thank you so much for coming. And honestly, it's been an hour, I think it has, yes. And it's just, for me in these conversations with you beautiful soul sisters and brothers, honestly, the amount of, and we've reached out to people around the world, to Germany, all over the place, which has been amazing. But just knowing and feeling into these gorgeous beings here that are helping to transmute this place, this planet, humanity, helping humanity move and expand and grow. And I just have so much gratitude for all of us who are here doing this. And it's been 40 odd years, hasn't it, that I know for myself, and it seems to be a long time, yet it's gone so quickly, as we will all say about past, isn't it? Our lives go so fast, and time as such. But to know, as from when I came in, knowing that this was the time we came in for, and I always say, I was a bit astounded at the way that it unfolded, but it's doing what it needed to do, and we have got so many more that are bringing their light forward now, that are really stepping into that, earthing it in, and changing the frequency here on the planet with us all. And that for me is just such a blessing. I just think it's just so exciting. And my field this year is for me to step out again out into that world and to help activate others into that space of joy and finding their life purposes, because purposes have all changed too. A lot of people's purposes have changed, if we have those as such. But it's just Oh, it's just so exciting. There's so much we could talk about in this area. It's
Yes,
just so exciting. And magic, oh my goodness, that was me too, Gail, right from a kid.
yes.
And I used to get frustrated that I couldn't move the spoon across the room without, physically picking it up. I knew I could, but I couldn't make that happen. It was so frustrating. And I remember
Right.
times trying so hard to get things to move and,
Well, that's
create a
it,
bit
you
of magic.
see. You were
Mm.
trying instead of
Yes.
being. I never use the word try.
Yeah.
I don't even use the word hope. I use the word trust.
Yes.
And
Hope
there's
sense.
no going back.
No.
We've reached the tipping point quite some time ago.
Yes.
And I happened to be listening to a lovely lady at Spirit Fest who was channeling the other day, and I was actually very impressed. I sat there quietly, and the being that spoke through her said that prior to COVID, our light quotient on Earth was about 65%. Through COVID, it dropped dramatically. But now it's well up over in the mid 50s and 56% or something. So I'm not really into figures and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But I just think it's lovely to, it's just very confirming when we know that everything's changing. We just walk outside and we can feel it. And we're
Yes.
in this year of the water rabbit right through till I think the beginning of March. So it's a wonderful energy for us to manifest.
It is.
Yes, to
Yeah.
dream big and just be love.
Mm.
That's, we talk about, well, what's my mission when I come in? What's my soul's journey sort of thing? It's to rediscover ourselves and to be love.
It is. Absolutely.
That's all,
Yeah.
you
It
know.
is. It's simple in itself. It's a
Yes.
bit of a mish finding it and getting there, but it's a very simple thing.
Yeah, I'm going to
Yeah.
share one more little experience before we
Mhm.
complete, because it's something personal that happened to me recently, and I thought, wow. So I have, like many of us, I have a very precious relationship with Yeshua, very precious. And so I was sitting in bed one night doing my evening meditation before sleep. And because of what I've experienced in the last few years, I decided that I was only going to love this person, all the stuff that I loved about this person. And there was lots and lots of things that I loved, so many wonderful memories and beautiful things that I loved. And it was like, blow the rest of it. I don't want anything to do with it. Well, Yeshua came through, and he said, as he always says to me, we know each other. We have had lifetimes together, dear one. I ask you simply to love the whole.
Mm.
And of course, I burst out into tears.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, that must mean I only love the nice things about me and the things that I don't like, And there was this huge judgment thing came up.
Yeah.
And I thought, that is honestly the most precious, precious lesson that I learned that night, to love the all. And I had this vision of Yeshua sitting on the hill as he used to, with all these people around him, the good, the bad, the ugly, the greedy, the rich, the sick, the healthy, you name it, they were there. And he loved them all. He
Yes.
never judged them. He loved them all.
Yes.
And he said, you will do all I do and more.
Mm.
Let
Yeah.
us, so if I slip, I remind myself.
Mm.
Mm.
And Gail, two people out of the Bible, basically, or that history, created miracles. That was Christ and Moses. And the reason behind that was because they knew they were God. They knew they were, I am that I am.
Yes.
And they used that term many, many times. And so that was the clincher for me in recognizing that it's not outside of me, it's inside, for one thing. And that's something that when we started this conversation, we started off around churches, and that's something that the church always gave, was that God was up here somewhere, out here somewhere. We had to, reach out to get him and talk to him and go through the person standing in front of the church there to be able to connect with God as such. And that was what clinched it for me in respect to it. Was I knew, even though I didn't really know at that point, I knew that's not truth. And it was years later, in the sense of it all falling into place for me. But that teaching of it being outside sort of took a lot of years off me, in respect of trying to find. If I didn't have that information or that input, I would have found myself a lot quicker in that connection as such. But yes, it's I am that I am. We know this now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And therefore miracles can be performed, and they do. We witness that many, many times in our day sometimes.
Yes.
So yeah.
So what I'll do, Mandy, I'll message you somehow the painting that I was given all those years ago, and it's called Aya Asha Aya, I am all that I am. And as I completed that painting, I was just a dribbling mess. I just cried and cried, and it reminded me of the beautiful painting that you see on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel.
Right.
And the description that comes with it is just beautiful. It's as appropriate today. It'll be appropriate any day. So I will message you that, and perhaps you can keep it. And
beautiful. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Fun.
Oh, Gail. It's been such a joy. Thank you so much. And I will catch up with you if I'm down Castle Hill way.
Oh, yes, we'll go and have some playtime.
Absolutely, that will be fun.
Okay, thank you. Bless you.
Thank you.
Love you heaps. Bye-bye.
Love you too. Bye.